At age 16, he bought his first server with $100 bill crumpled in his pocket. He had earned it fixing a neighbor's broken laptop, and that small, uneven trade would ignite one of the most extraordinary digital fortunes the world had never seen. His name was Daniel Ryker, a quiet kid from a quiet town who never fit anywhere except behind a screen that glowed long after midnight. Every night the house would go still, his parents asleep, the hum of the old refrigerator the only sound in the dark. That's when Daniel came alive, 2 monitors, 1 buzzing router, and a hunger that never left. He wasn't just playing games, he was dissecting systems, lines of code, digital blueprints of power. By 17, he had memorized the back-end structure of trading platforms most adults couldn't even log into. Not because he wanted to cheat the system, but because he couldn't stop wondering how it all worked. It started with curiosity, but curiosity, when paired with genius and insomnia, is a dangerous mix. The first experiment came one cold night in January, 13 a.m. Daniel opened a live demo account on a forgotten trading platform that offered synthetic stock simulations. He built a rudimentary script, just 50 lines of Python, that bought when sentiment spiked and sold when it fell. It wasn't elegant, but it was alive. For the first time, Daniel watched something he created make decisions without him. It was intoxicating. By dawn, he had turned the demo account's virtual $1,000 into $3,200 unreal money, but his brain didn't register fiction and reality the same way. If the algorithm worked in theory, it should work in practice. All he needed was real capital. So he scraped together everything: mowing lawns, fixing routers, even selling a rare GPU on an online forum. $100 in total. His first real stake. The night he went live, he could barely breathe. The bot executed trades with surgical calm while his heart raced at every tick of the chart. For hours, nothing happened. Then a surge. The stock of a small biotech firm spiked 12% after a press leak. The algorithm caught it before the news even broke publicly. By morning, Daniel's account had doubled. It wasn't luck. It was the beginning of a pattern that would defy logic, legality, and eventually the limits of the digital financial world itself. Within months, Daniel was quietly earning 4 figures a week. Hidden behind layers of anonymity, he rerouted trades through offshore API and crypto proxies to avoid platform restrictions. He was just a teenager, but his setup resembled that of a private fund. His bedroom became a digital command center, monitors stacked, code streaming down the screens like green rain. He wasn't trying to be rich. He was trying to be free. At school, his teachers thought he was falling apart: late assignments, red eyes, withdrawn conversations. But when he looked at them, he saw something else. People trapped in predictable loops, unaware of the system surrounding them. The same system his algorithms were now quietly exploiting. By 18, he had built a network of bots that operated across multiple platforms, equities, forks, even early-stage crypto pairs. He studied sentiment analysis, trained models on millions of Reddit posts and Twitter feeds, and fed that into trading algorithms that could predict human behavior seconds before the market reflected it. The numbers stopped feeling real. He wasn't playing the game anymore, he was running the simulation. One night, while testing latency differences between exchanges, he stumbled on something: a microsecond gap in price updates between 2 major trading servers. A difference of 0.003 seconds, to anyone else meaningless. To Daniel, it was an opening. He built a scraper, linked it to a bot, and began exploiting the gap. His $100 seed had grown into $10,000, then $50,000. Then 6 figures. He was invisible until he wasn't. At 3:42 a.m., a new IP address pinged his server, untraceable but persistent. Then a warning message appeared in his email inbox from an anonymous sender: "Stop scraping institutional networks. You're being logged." Daniel froze. It wasn't law enforcement, it was someone else, someone inside. For 3 nights he didn't sleep. He traced the IP back through multiple relays before discovering it originated from a private financial data center in Zurich. A hedge fund. He had unknowingly intercepted proprietary data belonging to one of Europe's largest algorithmic firms. But instead of running, he wrote them back. The message was simple. Your systems are leaking milliseconds. I can fix it. No response. Then, 48 hours later, a single reply. Show us. Within a week, Daniel was sitting in a video call with a firm executive who had no idea the consultant was still in high school. He demonstrated the latency flaw live, patching it in real time, and saved the firm millions in potential arbitrage losses. They didn't report him. They hired him quietly under an NDA. He was 19. Working remotely, paid in crypto, still living with his parents. Over the next 2 years, Daniel evolved. He wasn't hacking anymore. He was building predictive models, high-frequency bots, autonomous portfolio balancers. The Zurich firm gave him access to anonymized market data, and in return, he optimized their internal algorithms. He was paid a performance fee, small percentages, that snowballed into something colossal as his code generated measurable profit. By 21, Daniel's earnings surpassed $10 million. He owned nothing in his name, no cars, no property, no trace. Everything was digital, scattered across cold wallets and offshore accounts. To his parents, he was still the quiet kid who spent too much time in front of screens. But success never comes without a shadow. During a late-night system update, Daniel noticed something off his code running on servers he didn't control. Someone had cloned his framework. A breach. He traced the replication trail and found a ghost company registered in Singapore. The directors were shell identities, but the funding source pointed back to his own employer. They had stolen his algorithms. He confronted them through encrypted chat, but the response was cold and corporate. You signed everything away. That's when something in him broke. The next 6 months were chaos. Daniel launched a counter-operation not to destroy, but to expose. He released fragments of his source code online anonymously, embedding signatures that proved authorship. He leaked records that showed how major funds were manipulating retail markets through hidden latency. The revelations rippled across financial news channels, but no one knew the source. Then came the crash. In 2023, a global arbitrage meltdown wiped billions from hedge funds using automated strategies. Regulators blamed systemic trading failures, but insiders whispered about an unknown coder whose algorithms had cascaded through the system, forcing an industry reset. Daniel disappeared. His online presence vanished overnight. Wallets drained, servers shut down. The digital ghost who built a fortune vanished into the same silence from which he was born. Months later, an encrypted post surfaced on a private coder forum. Just a few lines. The game was never about money. It was about seeing the code beneath the world. It was signed with a familiar encryption key, Daniel's. Today, fragments of his algorithms still pulse through the markets, rewritten, renamed, but carrying the same heartbeat he built as a teenager in that dimly lit room. Some say he retired, others say he was absorbed into a classified program. A few believe he's still out there trading anonymously under layers of digital camouflage, watching the system he once conquered. But one truth remains: the legend of the boy who turned $100 into millions isn't about greed. It's about obsession, genius, and the razor. Thin line between creation and destruction in the age of algorithms. Somewhere, maybe right now, another 16. You're old as staring at a glowing screen, line by line, trying to decode the next miracle. And maybe, just maybe, the cycle has already begun again.